As you can see, we are having a rainy day outside, and that's something I hadn't been able to say a whole lot this year. But right now, we're having a rainy Saturday. It's supposed to rain all day long, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying listening to it. And I'm inside today doing some things to get ready for my husband's party. So I needed to be inside anyway, so it's all good. I wanted to say one thing before I do my little recipe for this video, and that is on my last video that I did, not shorts, but video, I gave some wrong information about liming my soil. I don't know where my head was. I don't know what I was thinking. And the worst part was I referenced some things on the internet when I was just checking myself. And it had it the same way I was thinking. So I let it affirm what I was thinking. But it was all wrong. And I should have known that. And so I decided to go back to an older video to look at some correct information on liming. And guess whose video that was? Mine. I did a video on all of this 2 years ago when I was at Camp Joy Farms. I cannot believe that just since like last year I didn't do any of this because we were in transition and I didn't have gardens or anything. I can't believe that just in that amount of time my mind forgot the whole process. But I'm going to link my other video. It's called A Liming Dilemma, and I went through the thought process of liming my soil. I took readings and I showed the whole thing. And I just wanted to link that at the bottom. Look at that. I decided just to take the other one down because I don't want to put out bad information. And so I kind of keep thinking of Barney Fife. You know, he says, just nip it. Just nip it. So I'm just going to nip it. I must take that video down and not even leave it up there. And that's just what I want to do to feel better about all this. So I just wanted to get that out there and then move on. I've got a lot to do. Yesterday, Friday, was our 39th wedding anniversary. This year, we just went for a ride. We like to do that. So we rode all up in Mississippi yesterday. I went up to a feed and seed in Brookhaven, Mississippi. And you know I love my feed and seed. So even if it's my anniversary, I still like to go buy feed and seeds. So we went to the Colin feed and seed in Brookhaven. And so I looked at their seeds, but I had everything they had. And it was kind of the same stuff they had last time I went. It's been my experience at the co-ops, so I didn't buy any seeds yesterday. And then last night we ordered some seafood from a seafood place that's very famous around here, probably not known nationwide, but it's called Middendorf's, and it's on Lake Marpaw down going towards New Orleans. And so we ordered some food there, and we just drove down and picked it up and brought it back home. So anyway, had a good day yesterday. But today is Saturday, and it's the day before my husband's party, and I've got a lot to do. And I'm going to do some cooking today. I have been blessed this year. My daughter and son-in-law are doing the main dish. My son-in-law makes really good pastalaya, which is like jambalaya, except you use pasta instead of rice. But to go with it, I'm going to make some coleslaw, and I'm also going to make some what they call sweet and hot pork and beans. And this is a recipe I've had for years and years and years. And I thought, you know, it's so easy and it's so good. It's simple, but it's good. And I thought I would just share that with y'all today to kind of add a little, maybe another little recipe to your repertoire. You know, it's always good to have simple recipes you can kind of fall back on. There's a million ways to make pork and beans, and you can take this recipe and adapt it. But for my taste, which I actually like things to be sweet and spicy, sweet and hot, or sweet and salty, you know, things like that. But these pork and beans are sweet because you do put brown sugar in them, but they're hot because you add a little cayenne. But it's the method of making it with some bacon and onions that just makes it so good. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And then tomorrow we're going to have his party, and we're going to have the best time. My granddaughter's making him a cake, some kind of Reese's peanut butter chocolate cake, and I think it's going to be delicious. And she's getting really good at baking. So she offered to do it. I'm like, heck yeah, knock yourself out. That sounds wonderful. So anyway, we're going to have a good day, and it'll be nice. And then on to next week, on to his real birthday, and then on to Christmas Eve gatherings and just all the things that go on around Christmas and Christmas Day. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to just reflecting and kind of quietening my mind around Christmas. I've been trying to do everything I can early, simply this year, not a rat race kind of thing. And it's worked because I really feel like this year, this last month or so, has been, in that aspect, less stressful on me. I've done a lot around my house. I've, things like that kind of always kind of make you feel busy and a little bit stressed. but just the actual Christmas season has been wonderful and kind of stress free for me. And I appreciate that. And I hope that it's going that way for you too, so that you can enjoy it. So let's go in my kitchen and I'll show you how I make sweet and hot pork and beans. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Someone gave me this book when I got married that I could write recipes in. It says Delaine's Favorite Recipes. And yes, that is my real name. Laney is just my nickname. But I used to write a lot of recipes in it when I'd be at my lunch hour at work because our newspaper in Baton Rouge had a really good food section called Food Focus. And if I saw a recipe I would handwrite it in here. So through the years, I just filled it with all kind of recipes that were so good. And some of them I've made, some of them I haven't. But some of them I tried and they weren't as good as I thought they were. But I just enjoyed having this. Look at recipes like this. Jambalaya for a crowd. I tended to copy things like that in case I had to cook for people. Crawfish soup. That sounded good. Crab meat a la Evelyn. I love seafood. That's my favorite. Chicken brown stew. I don't remember if I ever made that. Spinach pear salad with warm vinaigrette. This one, crawfish bisque, I have made, and crawfish bisque gravy that goes over it. And oh my God, that would have tasted so good on a day like today. Bread pudding with rum sauce. Is there anything better than that? Yeah, well, maybe Galveston crab cakes. But this is the recipe that I wanted to show you. It's the sweet and hot beans. The only ingredients in these beans are bacon, onions, brown sugar, cayenne, and pork and beans. And it serves 24 people. That's why I like to make this when I know I have a lot of people coming over because it makes plenty. And today I'm going to make even more. The first ingredient, 1 pound bacon. Now, bacon doesn't come in pounds too much anymore. It's 12 ounces. And instead of just using part of this second pack, I'm just going to use all of it because I'm actually going to end up with a couple of ounces of extra beans in here. So why not just use both packs of this? More bacon never hurt anybody. All you do is just kind of cut it in large chunks, separate it a little bit, and start it in the bottom of your pot. You don't have to let it cook until it's real crispy or anything, but you do just want to let it cook through until it's really good and done, yet it can still be a little wilty. It's going to cook some more at the end of this when you're cooking it in your pot or in your crock pot. It's just about done now, but I'm going to let it go a little bit more for some of these pieces that are still kind of pink to get a little more done. While the bacon's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and prepare these onions. It calls for 4 large onions. A couple of mine are kind of big, but some of the smaller ones I wouldn't call large. So I'm going to use 5 onions altogether. You're just going to have to kind of use your judgment on that, but 4 large onions. When the bacon is ready, just take it out and set it aside in a bowl. But do not drain the grease. Leave the grease in the pot. It's this grease that is going to make the recipe. If this just grosses you out and you really don't want to use a lot of bacon grease, then probably go use another recipe. If those thoughts come to your mind, just kind of nip it, like I said earlier. Just nip it because you have to have this grease to make this recipe taste really, really good. So don't skip it. Once the bacon is out, go ahead and put your onions right down into that grease. The 4 chopped onions or however many you decided to use, put them in that grease and you're going to cook them until they get pretty translucent and almost done. Once the onions get finished cooking, we're going to just leave them in there, but we're going to add some dark brown sugar. It specifically calls for dark brown sugar, and then the cayenne pepper. This is a 2-pound bag of dark brown sugar, so I'm just going to use like half this bag. I may use a little bit more because I am adding a little bit more beans and more bacon. So the cayenne pepper is to taste. I kind of like things hot, but I'm not going to stump my foot on it too much tomorrow because I don't know what my company is going to like. But I'll put a little in there and I'll kind of show you how much I sprinkle. Probably about a half a teaspoon. I'm going to go ahead and drain the pork and beans. You need to drain your beans before you add them to this recipe. If I'm making a side dish, like just a can of beans at night, I'll use bush beans. I just kind of really like those. But for this recipe, my favorite bean to use is the showboat beans. But you can kind of select and use whatever brand you're comfortable with, whatever brand's available to you. I just like the showboat myself. Now, you need a gallon of the beans, but these beans are 53 ounces per can. I have two big cans, so that's 106 ounces. There's 128 ounces in a gallon, so I'm a little bit shy of that by these two big cans that I bought. So I went and got two more cans out of my pantry. Now these are like 15 ounces each, so that would be adding another 30 ounces, which would put me at 136 ounces of beans. And so that's what I'm going to go with. It's a little bit more than the 128, but that's okay. That's why I added that extra bacon and stuff. So it'll all work out in the end and it'll be delicious. I had enough room in my colander to drain half my beans, so I went ahead and did that and put those in the pot. Then I added my pound plus a little bit extra of my dark brown sugar. Then I added my cayenne pepper. I just kind of sprinkled it on top of the brown sugar, going to stir it all in there. This is really to taste. I would just kind of experiment with this. You can always add more at the end. Going to add that delicious bacon back and give it a really good stir. And then once it's all incorporated, it needs to simmer in this pot until you think it's really good and done, probably 20 to 30 minutes on a low temperature, just a simmer. Or I'm going to put mine into a crock pot and cook it on low for a couple of hours. And then I'll put it in my refrigerator and get it back out tomorrow for the party and plug it in. These beans are making my whole house smell delicious. We really enjoy them. I hope that you will too. It might give you a good recipe that you can count on when you have a big crowd coming over and you know that you need to feed a lot of people. I'll put the recipe in the description of this video if that'll help anybody. And I hope you all enjoy it. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. Thank you so much for kind of being with me this evening while I cooked. Y'all have a great day, and I wish you the best Christmas holiday ever. I may get back with you before then, but if not, I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas.